Just make sure to keep it all still straight so you can tell me all about it. 'Cause I'll be on my way back home to you. Take the time to be loved. Just wear your scars and don't speak. 'Cause I know you don't have the words, so I'll go slow and let it all work in. Don't you give in, don't you give up. There's more to tomorrow than the sun. And I know it seems long ago, but please hold on, I promise I'll be there. Waiting for the moment soon when I'll speak with my hands and you'll keep wondering when I'll leave again. Oh, you'd say anything, I know, oh, that you'd say anything to keep it all around now. But just breathe and please calm down. I know I miss those days. Just make sure to keep it all still straight so you can tell me all about it. 'Cause I'll be on my way back home to you. Take the time to be loved. Just wear your scars and don't speak. 'Cause I know you don't have the words, so I'll go slow and let it all work in. Don't you give in, don't you give up. There's more to tomorrow than the sun. And I know it seems long ago, but please hold on, I promise I'll be there. Oh, you'd say anything, I know, oh, that you'd say anything to keep it all around now. 'Cause that's just the way you do things. Oh, you'd say anything, I know, oh, that you'd say anything to keep it all around now. Take the time to be loved. Just wear your scars and don't speak. 'Cause I know you don't have the words, so I'll go slow and let it all work in. Don't you give in, don't you give up. There's more to tomorrow than the sun. And I know it seems long ago, but please hold on, I promise I'll be there. Don't let it all just go by. Don't you give in and don't you give up. And I know we both don't have these words. 'Cause I know I'm begging you, please just hold on. 'Cause I promise I'll be there. I promised I'd be there. I promised I would always be there. It's just the way I can't keep you honest like you're coming clean. It's just the way you seem to be addicted to leaving me. It's just the way now that I can't sleep at night. Now that you're gone, it's just the way you don't know which direction I was coming from. It's just the way I can't seem to tell apart all of your rights from wrongs. It's just the way now that I know
Alrighty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series here. We're live from Iowa for race 3 of 17 in this Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. I'm Hunter Sleppy, your lead announcer. Joining me in the booth is my right-hand man, Jacob Bell, and executive producer, Harold Darner. How's it going, guys?
Going great, man. I'm excited. We got a great night of racing lined up here at Iowa Speedway for race number 3 of the Swift Lifestyles Pro Series, and different look than what we've seen the past 2 weeks being down in Florida. Now we're up to Iowa, and I think we're going to have a short track type of race with a lot of these drivers that we haven't seen yet on a short track, so I'm looking forward to it.
Speaking of different, there you see our Twitter handles. We're all on Twitter, and yes, that is what we look like. Something new that we are showing off here for the first time tonight, and that's exciting to see. And you mentioned it, we're at a new track. We were in Florida for the first 2 races of the season. Now we're moving over to the Midwest in Iowa for the Iowa race. We got about 140 laps slated here for us tonight. There you see an aerial shot of the racetrack. Now, Jake, I don't know if you've been to Iowa too much or too little. What can we expect tonight with the drivers that ask and
Yeah, well, here tonight at Iowa, we got a couple things we're going to look forward to. And, you know, with the track being a 7/8 mile track, it's the shortest track we're going to go to for, I think, this entire season, and especially for these Swift Lifestyle Pro Series drivers. So it's going to be one of the only times we get to see these guys beat and bang a little bit more and get away with it than they would at a 1.5-mile track like Homestead, I should say. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. 7/8 mile track. 12 to 14 degrees in banking in the corners, 10 degrees on the front straightaway, 4 degrees on the back straightaway. So a few track facts there as we get set for our 3rd race of the season. And also, you know, we got a little bit of a shakeup with the playoff points a little bit. And there we go, playoff picture heading into tonight, Hunter.
Yep, you see there on the left, the top 10 in the standings, Matthew Robinson and Nick Halda. There you see the little A next to their names. Those are win stickers there, solidifying that they are winners in the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series and that they're locked into the playoffs right now. As there you see Jake Fleming is the last one in right now, although we're only 2 races in. Doesn't hurt to look at where drivers are, because some drivers could have a rough patch to start out the year, and then they start to click in the middle of the season, and then who knows, they could race their way in.
Exactly. And if you look at the playoff picture right now, I mean, we got a tie for that cutoff spot in the 12th spot between Jake Fleming and Michael Light. They're actually tied. And then, oh yeah, Brandon Hedrick's 1 point behind him. So it's going to get tighter and tighter as these races go on. Of course, only 2 races in, and we have 12 races in the regular season before we start our 5-race playoffs, but it's never too early to look at the playoff picture. And right now, if you're somebody like Matthew Robinson, who got the win last week at Homestead, or somebody like Nick Halda, who got the win week 1 at Daytona, I feel like it's probably a great feeling to know you're already locked into the playoffs when you come to a track like Iowa.
Yep. And the top 3 drivers in the standings there, Robinson, Halda, and Eli Green, are the only ones to have top 10s in both of the races, and the only one to have a top 5 and a top 10 points, Matthew Robinson.
Yeah, and I think that shows, you know, a lot of the guys that we've seen up front early have been some of the names that we kind of expected, with Matthew Robinson sort of leading the way. He really dominated last week at Homestead, but those 3 drivers that you mentioned, those are the only ones with the top 10s both races. We'll see if that streak can continue tonight for those guys, or if somebody else steps up. And speaking of somebody else stepping up, Hunter, we had a couple new teams this week.
Yep, indeed. We got some new teams, new drivers there. And there you see going for a spin there. It's one of the newer drivers. And collecting Matthew Robinson, that little carnage there. That's the 02 of Jordan Hurley, one of the newer drivers coming into the series, along with the 92 of Dustin Carroll. And there's the 81 of Jimmy Horn.
Yeah, that's Jeremy Horn there in the 81, actually, not Jimmy. Got to get the names right. But Jeremy Horn in the 81, and then also Dustin Carroll right behind him, actually, I believe, in the number 92. Those 2 drivers are both going to be teammates for the rest of this season, and they will be racing for the newly formed Vader Motorsports. And as well as that team, we had another new team, and that's Audible Racing, where you'll see the 31 of James Shainwolf right there in the Audible Racing machine. And his teammate, and actually I believe it's the team owner as well, is the Adam Capps in the number 55 car, being the second driver of that duo that's going to take on this team championship. Of course, those two teams coming in late, Hunter, they're already in a little bit of a hole in the team championship standings, but I guess it's better to get in earlier than later on in the season. So they'll have to climb out a little bit if they want to get up there and contend with the two teams that we've seen so far this season in Samson Motorsports and One Mind to Design Motorsports. Currently, Samson Motorsports leading the way.
I'm still looking at that name. I could have sworn that was Jeremy, or Jimmy, not Jeremy. But there you see, that is the 02 of Hurley. Currently third on our practice charts right now. And speaking of third, we're looking for our third different winner here in the third race of the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. First two races have been won by Matthew Robinson and Nick Halda. And as you mentioned earlier, the third car in points, Eli Green, he's second on the charts right now. Could he break through and get his win tonight?
Now you see, we got a look there with Caleb Steimer, the Walton, Kentucky native in the number 18. Caleb always has a few fans checking in through the Twitch channel throughout the races, so want to give a big shout out to all the Steimer fans out there. And we actually got the in-car camera with him this week as well.
Yep, there he is. He's focused and he's ready to take the task on hand. But we've seen his in-car camera throughout the night. So there he goes down the front stretch.
One of those things for Caleb that's going to be, a key point this week is he was out last week at lap 1 at Homestead. I mean, obviously it was a really slick racetrack with that sun setting in South Florida, but ultimately he was one of the guys who ended up having to park it after the first few laps because he just had so much damage from an early on wreck. So he'll be looking to rebound this week. And we also got a few more familiar faces kind of scattered in throughout the field that we'll have to keep an eye on. There you see Matthew Robinson, last week's winner. We also have the number 9 of Ryan Swann making his return back to the series, so we'll have to see how the Rick's Hot Sauce machine does there. Right now, he's currently outside the top 10 in practice, right there in the 13th spot. Another one of those guys that's nice to see back from last week's debut is the number 21 car of Dominic DeLeo. Ran a solid race last week at Homestead, didn't really cause too much trouble for the most part. He kept that thing clean and was able to come home with a top 15 in his first race. And he, Hunter, he's a great follow on Twitter, by the way, for all of you fans out there listening. I definitely recommend checking out his Twitter account. But he was one of the guys who ran a solid race last week, got the top 15, and he said he's been practicing all week here at Iowa, and I think we're kind of seeing that already.
Yep, and yeah, we are seeing it. He's fourth right now on the charts. He's looking like one of the early contenders here tonight, along with Eli Green in that 28, third in points, looking for that win. We saw the Araya Twitter page tweet under his handle, over-under on his finish, 14.5, because he finished 15th last week at Homestead. So he's looking to improve on that finish. Yeah,
and he'll, Iowa's a great track for a lot of these guys to really put their elbows up and start, dig in and not necessarily rough racing or dirty racing, but if you got to lean on somebody here, it's better to do it at a track that's 7/8 mile versus a 1.5 mile track where that damage can play a crucial role. Obviously, I think damage will still come into effect if you do end up tearing up your race car quite a bit here tonight, but keeping it clean is always going to be key. But, tonight, more than any other night we'll see all season long, is a chance to really put your elbows up and race hard.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We'll see some 3 wide banging down the straights or through the corners here. See our weather. Oh, just saw our weather. Popped and flashed. There we go. Weather brought to you by Lottie'sTravelWorld.com. It's mostly cloudy right now, although the sun's starting to set. Air temp 78, track temp 80, humidity 96%. Oh my. And then winds from the southwest at 11 miles per hour. So it's windy in the Midwest.
Also a little bit hazy right now. You can see the haze kind of taking over Iowa as the sun's setting with a few minutes left here in practice. Actually make that 48 seconds left in practice. Already see some Dominic DeLeo fans out there, and we see some Caleb Steimer fans as well, so appreciate everybody tuning in here. Early on in our broadcast, these guys are about to get set to go ahead and qualify these race cars for their 140-lap main event that we're going to have later on tonight. So I'm really looking forward to tonight. I think it's going to be a fun race.
I think it's going to be a fun race too, and just to touch up on that, Dominic DeLeo, fourth on practice right now, although he finished 15th at Homestead, and he did say he was practicing this week. Tonight's the night where you could see some of these drivers who are more comforted with short tracks rather than the 1.5 miles or 2.5 miles that we go to. Just be on the lookout for some of those guys tonight. And I think we could see that 21 car of Dominic DeLeo on the pole.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on him throughout qualifying here as practice is just wrapped up. James Shainwolf, the Audible Racing number 31 machine, is going to take the top spot from practice, and we'll get set to qualify again. 10 minutes for these drivers to qualify, and then they'll have the drivers meeting about halfway through that qualifying session, where our admins for tonight, Brad Slaughter Jr. and Ryan Hartz, will get a chance to go over the rules with these guys and kind of lay down what they expect from all the drivers for the race tonight. So admins have been doing a great job here this season in all 4 of our series, but definitely want to give them a shout out. Harold kind of said it perfectly last week. Those guys are really the unsung heroes of all leagues, and without them, none of this is really possible, because you got to have somebody up there in the tower making sure everything stays under control. So tonight it's going to be Ryan Hartz and Brad Slaughter Jr. who's going to take us through the 140 lap event, and we'll have to make sure to give them a special shout out. And we got Ken Kushwa, our lead announcer, our secondary announcer, I should say, on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the chat as well. So appreciate you, Ken. We see you out there.
There we see some drivers here. They're already starting to make their first laps around the track. Now it is 2 laps. Basically, the first one you'll see as a warm-up lap, and then the second one will be really their go-to lap, or where you'll see them improve on their lap time. And then, just in case you didn't know, if you hit the wall in any way, shape, or form, if you just give it a little tap, a little kiss, it erases your lap time completely. There we see names popping up all over the board on the left. And then on the top right, you see the fastest ones going to the top right now. That's the 57 of Jordan Berry running on board here with the 12 of Brandon Hedrick. Pulls it down to the bottom on the front stretch.
About Rick Christensen in the 19 going to the top of the chart. Well, now it's going to be the
Trevor
one.
Williams. Yep, the first driver to crack the 23s right now. And Jordan Berry, the second one to crack the 23s.
Yeah, some of these guys are laying down some really quick qualifying laps. Fastest lap we saw in practice was a 23.7 by James Shanewolf. He just goes back to the second place spot now, just by 3/1000. How about Rick Christensen taking the top spot?
Here's Caleb Steimer looking to complete his first lap here. The Walton, Kentucky native, or that might have been the green flag lap. It was the green flag lap. There you see him focusing. And this track races like Homestead, where it's multi-groove as well. You can run the bottom, middle, top. We saw Rick Ward run the top. Here we see Caleb Steimer running around the middle to the bottom, middle to the bottom groove. Gets high on the corner exit down the line.
Doesn't seem too pleased with his lap.
No, 18th for the 18 car, and it looks like his first lap was not allowed.
Probably didn't count, yeah.
There's Daytona winner Nick Calda, and then Rick Ward in the 34 there, running the middle groove.
I believe Rick Ward is actually complete with qualifying. Yeah, his laps are done, so he'll be charted in the 18th spot. There's Jacob York, the 97. Get to see him back again from Asheville, North Carolina. I believe he's either starting his first lap. No, he's actually completing it. He'll run a 24.42. That'll put him P20 for the moment. We'll see if he can pick up here on his second lap.
Yep, currently 21 drivers have completed their qualifying times or have put up at least one lap. Still waiting on some drivers to put up their lap time, including Sean Corcoran and Ryan Swann. Here comes
like a
York
solid lap, I think, for York there. He was able to pick up any. He actually wasn't, though. Oh, correction, he is a little bit. He'll jump up, it looks like, to the 17th spot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Here is the 02 of Jordan Hurley, making his Swift Style Pro Series debut tonight.
With lifestyles.
Here you see him running along the top groove. Won't get too close to that wall, otherwise lap time will not be counted.
First lap for the 02, going to be a 24.19. Put him now in the 20th spot. That 20th spot seems to be kind of popular. Now he drops back down to 21st.
Ryan Swann just went up to 7th on the board.
Good lap there for the number 9 car, especially later on in this qualifying run.
Yeah. Here he comes working the bottom through 3 and 4. Going to go up to the top, get near the wall on the front stretch, crossing the line. Will that 7 improve on his lap time?
No, looks like just 9/1000 slower, actually.
The 02, the new kid, Jordan Hurley, to the top of the chart. A 23.842. Put him at P1 right now. There's JJ Wang also cracking the top 10 in the 9th spot.
That's a lot of these guys. I think we had more people qualify this week than we've seen in the other previous 2 races.
Yeah, we're still 3 drivers who have yet to put down a lap time. But we're nearing the end of qualifying.
It's going to be Dustin Carroll in the number 92. He's one of those guys that's newer, linked up with the team. He has yet to qualify, as well as the number 33 there, Brian Dixon. I apologize for my mouse clicking in the background there. And then Sean Corker on. Those three have yet to qualify. Dominic DeLeo is going to put it up into P17, it looks like, on his qualifying effort.
Yep, but definitely some surprise names up here that I did not expect in the top 10 or even on the poll.
Yeah, Jordan Hurley is definitely going to be somebody we're going to have to keep our eye on to see what he's able to do. It'd be something if he could come out here and win in his first start of the season. But outside of that, though, a lot of the regulars, Rick Christensen in second, he's really, really been quick in qualifying and also the races the last few weeks. We saw him almost give a run towards the front for Matthew Robinson last week at Homestead. James Shainwolf, though, posting the third quickest time so far. Jake Fluman and Eli Green rounding out the top 5 for the moment.
Yep, Rick Christensen, it looked like he had pole for the longest, but just at the very end, Hurley gets it in. And then how about Ryan Swann? You mentioned that he only raced Daytona, missed last week at Homestead. Gotta feel good starting P8 for him.
The admins are just now starting their race or their admin meeting, pre-race meeting with the drivers. So I'm going to go ahead and listen into that. Hand the broadcast over to you, Hunter.
Ready. See, we got some fans in the chat here of the 84 and the 69, that being Forrest Smith and Gary Lewis. It'll be interesting to watch those guys tonight.
And looks like we're going to have two drivers going back to the rear, Fluman and Williams. Basically, that for paint violations, not having the proper stickers on the cars.
Yeah, especially the one of Trevor Williams has the Nextel Cup Series banner and all the other contingencies with it. We want the drivers running the contingencies of all sponsors for the Araya Leagues across the board, including the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. We did have fans for the 69 and the 84. Forrest Smith in the 84 is starting 7th, and then in the 69 car, Gary Lewis is going to be 16th. And Jordan Berry also, the 57, he had a good lap time, P6 for him. It'll be interesting to see how these drivers take the green flag and go into turn 1 because of how many lanes you guys can run. Won't be surprised if we see some 3-wide action here. There's Dustin Carroll. The 92, it's one of our other drivers. Yep. Along with the 81 of Jeremy Horn and Jordan Hurley, currently on the pole. The Columbus, Missouri native.
I believe that's Mississippi.
Mississippi. Yes, that is Mississippi. Got my hand.
Probably would have said Missouri as well. Don't feel too bad there.
Alright, well, he's going to take over. He's going to cross the start-finish line. Looks like that will be his green flag lap. Just had a first-time chat from a Trevor Williams fan, wishing him good luck. Well, he's gonna be starting in the rear of the field, so he's gonna have to work himself out of a hole early on. There's 92.
Okay, we have D-Trade telling me that Carroll's actually from Johnson City, Tennessee, and just going based probably on what was given to me either by iRacing or the media files, but we could change that.
Our secondary voice, Ken Kushwa, says that he's going to go with the 31 of James Shainwolf. It's an interesting choice. He picked last week's winner in the Cup Series, Cameron Hearn. Actually, no, he did not. He did not pick Cameron. I
picked Cameron Hearn in the Xfinity race, Lodgebox Series race last week, and that ended up paying out for me. I want to give a special shout out, though, to Jesse in the chat saying good luck, Trevor Williams, first-time viewer. So we're happy to have you guys checking it out for us, or with us tonight. Up to 36 viewers already, so really appreciate everybody hopping in and checking out tonight's race here from Iowa. I think it's going to be a fun one, Hunter.
Indeed, it should be a fun one. We got 140 laps slated for us here, and I was just talking to Harold about how these drivers are going to approach turn 1, because we've definitely seen Drivers go 2 wide, 3 wide. We may even see 4 wide tonight.
And there we go. So qualifying is officially wrapped up. Pre-race meeting is done. Drivers meeting is done. These guys are ready to strap in now and go 140 laps. And we'll take a look here at our starting grid. On pole, the number 02 of Jordan Hurley, and starting outside of him, the 19 of Rick Christensen.
Row 2 will find James Shainwolf in the 31, and alongside him, Jake Flumen in the 98.
Row 3 is going to have Eli Green in the 28 car, and outside of him, Jordan Berry.
Row 4, it'll be Forrest Smith in the 84, and alongside him, Ryan Swann in the 9.
Row 5, rounding out our top 10, is going to be JJ Wang in the 00 for Infinite Gaming, and then also we got Nolan Neiman out there starting 10th.
Row 6 will find the 40 of Matthew Robinson starting 11th, and then alongside him, the 81 of Jeremy Horn starting 12th.
Starting 13th is going to be Trevor Williams in the number 1 car, and outside of him, Nicholas Holt in the 87. Williams will actually be dropping to the rear here on the start.
And then in row number 8, we'll have the 55 of Adam Capps alongside the 69 of Gary Lewis.
And favorite, Dominic DeLeo is going to roll off from the inside of row 9. Outside of him, Dustin Carroll in the 92.
Row number 10, we'll have the 12 of Brandon Hedrick, and alongside him, the 66 of Bobby Tinch.
And then the back half of our field, we'll have Jacob York starting 21st tonight. Outside of him, Eric Shugar.
Row 12 will be Rick Ward in the 34, and alongside him, Kevin Hayes in the 3.
Inside of row 13 is going to be Caleb Steimer, one of our onboard cameras for tonight. And then the rounding out the field is going to be Sean Corcoran in the 22 and the 33 of Brian Dixon. So we will have a grand total of 27 drivers ready to roll here tonight for 140 laps at Iowa.
Looking through the chat, it looks like fellow competitor Ryan Swann says, I got JJ. I believe he's referring to JJ Wang in the 00 that's starting 9th.
There we go. So we'll see. I don't know if we no confidence in himself, it sounds like, but I mean, if you got who you got, right? You try to make your picks, and I'm more interested to see how the new teams come into factor tonight, right? With Audible Racing and Vader Motorsports, a lot of new faces we'll get a chance to take a look at with Dustin Carroll and a few others. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, one of those newcomers being Jordan Hurley on the pole, a name I did not expect to see in the front row at all. So that'll be interesting to see how he approaches turn 1 here.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a quick pace lap for these guys. They're going to be, I believe they'll get 2 here. I'm not sure. I hope they get 2.
I believe it's 2.
Yeah, 2 guys going to the back. You see the 98 there, Jake Flumen up against the wall, and the number 1 of Trevor Williams. That's for not having the correct contingency decals on their race cards. This is the last week that these guys are even allowed to race without them. They really weren't supposed to race this week, so they'll get the EOL instead. And then next week going forward, everybody should be squared away as far as contingencies go. But yeah, on the second pace lap here, the lights are going to be off on the pace truck, and we're going to get set to go green next time by. We got any pre-race picks coming in, Hunter? Who you got?
I was just about to ask you first.
I'm going to go with the 19 of Rick Christensen. I think he's due for a big night.
I'm going to go ahead and say that the 20 to Eli Green brings home the win. Harold, who do you got? Or are you going to
go with Jordan Hurley today, the new guy, number 76 at the Unical. So from the pole to checkers.
Right. So our picks for tonight's race. And what I like to call it, the Corn Bowl 140. See the pace truck making the hard left turn onto pit road. And then we'll take the green flag here in just a moment. Jordan Hurley, newcomer, starting on the front row with Rick Christensen on his outside. And here we go, about to go 140 laps, green flag here at Iowa.
Field storms down into turn 1. Hurley with a great jump is going to take over the top spot. How about slide to 31 of James Shainwolf now up to 2nd, and Eli Green's going to follow through. Their single file through the top 5.
Yep, but here comes that 28 of Green there on the bottom, trying to get a run along the outside of Shainwolf and give lap number 1 to Jordan Hurley.
With that lap led, obviously comes that super important bonus point that a lot of these drivers try to get. Now we got the battle even storming on a lot more now for Eli Green on the bottom side of the racetrack. He's going to get underneath James Shainwolf, and he's going to look towards the O2 now. Jordan Hurley, our race leader. The 28's coming in a hurry.
Yeah, but it looked like Shainwolf clipped the wall there coming out of 2. But yeah, give the lead to Eli Green. He leads lap number 2. But now here comes Shainwolf on the bottom.
Are we going to have 3 different leaders in 3 laps? Like Green's going to settle out up front now. Shainwolf's going to slide up in front of the O2 of Jordan Hurley. How about Rick Christensen in the 19, who got a bad start there, dropped back to 4th. Now he's worked his way back up to 3rd. Battle on the inside of the racetrack. I see the number 9, Orion Swann, trying to move his way inside the top 5 now.
Battling alongside the 57 of Jordan Berry. See Eli Green pulling out to almost half a second gap between him and James Shainwolf.
We got Eli Green, James Shainwolf, Rick Christensen. Those are 3 names we intended to see up front tonight. And then you got Jordan Berry now moved into 4th. And outside the top 5, we see a battle between the number 9 of Ryan Swann and the 00 JJ Wang. Those drivers just now heading down into turn 3. Looks like Ryan's actually going to get the spot for the moment and start working on the O2.
Yeah, the O2 falling quickly there after leading lap number 1. He's about to fall outside the top 5 now. It's a gaggle of cars behind him.
Now you see the 40, the inside orange and white car. That's Matthew Robinson, last week's winner at Homestead. Be interesting to see if he's able to work his way up front. Obviously not the qualifying effort he would have wanted there. He started outside the top 10 in the 11th, so he's having to work his way through a little bit of traffic this week. Pretty calm start so far, though, Hunter. I don't know if I anticipated that.
No, I definitely didn't anticipate it either, but I did anticipate the kind of balance that we had that's going on behind Ryan Swann and Matthew Robinson, as Hurley's still falling back to 7th since leading lap number 1.
You got to think, is he saving tires maybe? I mean, the short track, the tires won't matter as much as they would, a mile and a half typically, but it'll still come into play, especially if we get a long green flag run, which, knock on wood, seems to be the trend of the season in every series is green flag pit stops and getting these guys, long runs on their tires. With 3 sets of tires in the pits, you got 140 laps. I don't know if they'll come into play too much tonight. I feel like that's plenty of tires for those laps, you know what I mean? So a lot of these guys, they'll be able to come in and get a fresh set of tires if you space it out, every 35 laps, and that's plenty when you come to a track like Iowa that's so short.
Yep, and that last time by, you saw Green nearly tap the wall, which caused Shainwolf to close in about 10th on his lap time.
Don't count out Rick Christensen, though, back there in 3rd. He's looking awfully strong so far. And we know he's got the long run speed.
Yeah, he's in the camper, so he's just waiting for something to happen to the top 2. But starting to single file out throughout the fields. We got some side-by-side action going on back at, say, around the 8th spot. JJ Wang, and then the number
81 of Jeremy Horn.
Yep.
That's who he's battling with for the moment. I was going to mention, actually, coming off a 4 last time by, the 00 of JJ Wang was actually sideways and had to correct it, went all the way down to the apron, almost near to the grass, just to keep that thing from spinning out on him. Now he's under attack from Nolan Neiman, kind of going the wrong way right now for the 00 for Infinite Gaming. And Neiman working the outside of the racetrack. He's going to be on the back bumper here shortly, it looks like, of the O2 of Hurley. So now these guys kind of settle out their battle for the moment, at least. Now the Daytona winner from race number 1, the 87 there, you see him, Nicholas Halda, working his way into the mix.
Yeah, JJ Wang just not finding grip right there on the bottom, or his car's just way too loose right now in the early run.
Matthew Robinson, one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about there, he started outside the top 10, he's worked his way up to 6. He's kind of stalled out, though, since he's gotten to that 6th spot. Not been able to move up too much throughout the top 5 as easily as he did, the backside of the top 10. As you see the 81 there, and all these guys kind of settling out their battles. Towards the back of the field there, you see Gary Lewis, one of the drivers for the One Mind to Design Motorsports team, having a little bit of a tough start. He's actually 1 lap down. Not exactly sure what happened there.
He just went down pit road. Looks like he had some damage there. Just on pit road.
Car looks clean, though. I don't see any marks or nothing. No damage on that race car. It's a great-looking race car, by the way, by the One Mind to Design folks.
It's early on, though. Can always come back.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll definitely be able to rebound and get right now he is the only car, almost said the only dog, because he is in the lucky dog spot, but he is the only guy one lap down. So for the moment, it's going to pan out okay, it looks like, for him.
Our Twitch channel has given us a pit reporter from our feed is telling us that he couldn't see the screen went black.
Interesting.
The Allen situation.
Do not let the kids have the remote control. That was a lesson we should know. No remotes in kids' hands while racing.
How about James Shaywolf, Hunter, working the outside a little bit? He keeps inching closer and closer to that race leader.
Yeah, you see he's starting to diamond down in the middle of 1 and 2, so he can get the runoff. You'll see it right here. See, sort of diamonds it right in the middle of the corner.
Yeah,
and gets
that a lot lower, yeah.
Here he goes. He's alongside him, side by side for the lead. Shane Wolf on the bottom, Green up top here. We go into turn 1, side by side.
Those guys are racing hard.
Neither one not giving an inch.
Shane Wolf, really, you could see him kind of slide it up in there, and Eli Green on the reverse side was trying to pinch him down a little bit to try to kill that momentum. Ended up sliding and almost made contact with each other just from how hard they were racing, and it actually paid off for Eli Green. He was able to clear him again and take over sole possession of the lead. Now Shane Wolf's going to try it on the outside, or maybe I think he's doing what you were talking about there, Hunter. You see him diamonding, entering real high, getting that momentum build up, and then pinching off the exit of the corner. Gets a great launch down the back straightaway, and he's back to the inside of the race leader.
He's waiting on, again, a big enough run to where he can clear him on the straightaway while making the pass. Because you see when he's alongside him, he can't contend or pass the 28 of Green.
Still not counting out Rick Christensen.
Oh, contact! Green in the wall! Green
That's
just
a hard
smacked
hit.
the wall after contact with James Shanewolf battling for the lead. He keeps it going for now. We're still Green. Heavy contact to that right side on the 28.
Yeah, that right front is hurt pretty good. He's in the wall again. I mean, that's a lot of damage there on the 28. That's going to hurt him. That's a tough deal.
In the middle of the battle, we saw Matthew Robinson just cracked into the top 5. He's currently 4th, and depending on the Eli Green situation, he'll move up to 3rd. Because Green's keeping it on the track for now.
What about moving up to 2nd instead? He's working the top side of the racetrack.
Yeah, look at him slicing and dicing, going top to bottom. So move the points leader of Matthew Robinson into the 2nd spot. And he just kissed the wall for that, too. Shane Wolf loving everything he's seen in his mirror. He's driving away.
I don't know if he is. When he sees that 40 car getting into his mirror, I don't think that's a good feeling.
Oh, he liked. I'm pretty sure he liked the 40 just kissing the wall just a little bit there.
Yeah, maybe. Eli, though, is actually hanging in there pretty good for as hard as he hit the wall there. I would have kind of expected that car to be way down on speed and power. Not so much the case. He's still hanging tough with these guys. He's settled into 4th for the moment, but obviously it might be hard for him to race his way back up to the lead. But we'll have to see. Once these guys are able to get that pit stop in, he'll be able to fix a little bit of damage. Right now, if you're somebody like Eli, you don't want it to fix that damage under green flag, right? It might be 20, 30 seconds of optional damage. You can't afford to lose that time under a green flag pit stop, but if there was a caution, which is what somebody like Eli's probably hoping for, you can stay on pit road for an extended time, get that car fixed, get back out there, and then see what you can do with it. So right now, a lot of these guys, I'm sure, hoping to see a yellow. Those 2 guys that we had to send to the rear earlier on, Trevor Williams, he's worked his way up to 18th. So not too bad for him to work his way through the field some. And then also Jake Fleming up to 14th.
Yeah, the only ones that are looking for a yellow right now are Eli Green and Gary Lewis, because Lewis would be back on the lead lap if a yellow were to come out at this moment, and Green can fix that damage. But yeah, some drivers that got sent to the back are slowly working their way to the front. There you see the side-by-side battle there. Swann was following. He was running 6th at one point, then got passed by Robinson, and then he pole sitter and Justin Hurley. Now he's trying to hold off the 7th spot from Nick Halda, the Daytona winner.
And then Nolan Neiman, look at this gaggle of cars we got. This is from 9th all the way back to 15th. I mean, these guys are really under attack.
Yes, side by side all over. There you see JJ Wang on the bottom. Oh, looks like we got some 3-wide action here as they go into turn 1.
And Brandon Hedrick working the bottom of the racetrack there in the number 12. He's going to stick the 81 of Jeremy Horn up high and the 00 of JJ Wang in the middle. And right outside the 12, you see that 98 car with the lettering down the side. That's Jake Fleming working his way all the way up, almost to the top 10 already after having to start in the rear. So good rebound for him. And now he's looking to go 3 wide again.
I was looking at the back there between Jacob York and Dominic DeLeo as York got high through turn 2 that time, nearly kissing the wall.
These guys are really racing close.
Yeah,
Slicing and dicing is the best way to put it.
Whoa, we got some bumpers going on between the 1 and the 97. Williams gave Jacob York a little shove there coming out of turn 2.
And look at all the
Slide up
different
in front of the
lines.
1.
I don't know if these guys are going to admit it, but they're having a blast right now. When it's racing like this and you got people using every different line on the racetrack possible, it is so much fun to be in the mix.
It's basically Homestead, just a short track version of it.
These guys are doing a great job keeping it clean and, you know, just racing real hard for position early on in this race. But again, 140 laps here at Iowa is going to go by kind of quick. So these guys are going to have to get everything they can early on here.
Yep, these guys are ticking off 24, 25-second lap times. There you see now. Yeah, that was Nick Halda. No, that was Robinson. My apologies.
I was going to give a shout out James Shanewolf. It's actually kind of stretched out that lead a little bit. It looked like Matthew Robinson was going to get in position to start hunting him down, but ever since Shane Wolf has gotten by the 28 and you know everything kind of settled out from the contact and such, he's kind of drove away and extended that lead almost a second now.
Yeah, meanwhile, the 28 of Eli Green has now fallen outside of the top 5 there. He's currently running in the 6th spot right now. And Jordan Hurley back in the top 5. Had the pole, led the lap, and then just kind of faded to around the back half of the top 10. And now he's slowly but surely worked his way back in the top 5.
We got C. Sampson Jr. with a new follow on the Twitch channel. He's rooting on the number 02 of Jordan Hurley, so I want to give a shout out to him for checking out the broadcast, or her. So rooting on the number 02 there. He's had, you know, Hunter was just documenting there, had an up and down night so far already early on. Started on pole, led a lap, fell outside the top 5, now worked his way back into the top 5. But 32 laps down. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say his lap time was a 10th quicker than our leader, so definitely found some speed in that car.
I said he might be saving some tires. He was going backwards too quickly that it looked like he just had to be saving tires or trying to conserve the speed in that race car. So would not surprise me to hear he's the quickest car on the track right now. Also, Robinson starting to cut into the lead. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just about close to a second. Now it's close to half a second. Just 6 car length.
You know, I would anticipate with the 3 tire sets these guys have in the pits, you know, they'll be able to come down on 3 separate occasions. If these guys are going to space it out in terms of tire management, I would anticipate pit stops here in the next 5 laps or so. You could split it up 35, 35, 35. So you'd pit on lap 35, do a 35 lap run, pit on lap 70, do a 35 lap run, pit on lap 105, and then another 35 lap run to the end. So if those guys are wanting to space out the pit stops evenly, we might see them coming down pit lane any second now. But in terms of fuel, I think these guys can do this race easily and comfortably on just 2 pit stops under green. So that's another factor. Fuel versus tires.
I was thinking on the top of the pit, I was going to be looking at 50, 50, and 40 to save me a set of tires.
And that's probably, I think, what we'll see, because those 15 extra laps that they're staying out, I don't think the tire... Oh, we got a caution. There goes that. I know it was around the 66, I believe, of Bobby Tinch. I heard him calling out a checkup over the radio. Looks like it might have been the 3 of Kevin Hayes. I'm not used to seeing these yellow flags.
There's our 1 to go replay there.
There we saw the 69 on pit road, I think. Potentially the 1 and the 9. Yeah, it had to have been Ryan Swann. I don't see him on the in the Ryan 1 right here.
Falling. Yep.
So he was stuck in the middle 3. We see a little bit of contact there.
1 of Williams that sends him around, and then
we'll have to see what happened from there.
Yeah. Just about to say, the 9 was definitely off pace as he fell outside the top 10, was just kind of falling. But there you see that's the 1 of Trevor Williams getting to the back of Ryan Swann.
We'll have to watch Ryan here to see if he gets collected from any other cars real quick. As he gets
behind, got
there. Looks like Nolan Neiman there hits him head on. Brings out the caution. Other than that, no cars involved. getting back up to the live feed now. These guys are already on pit road under yellow.
Yeah, I mean, everyone and their mom are coming down pit road, getting the fresh set of tires, the fuel, everything and anything they need to make their car better.
I got a little bit of an inside scoop listening on the radio. I think the Eli Green machine is a little bit worse for wear than we thought. He just reported 3 minutes of optional repairs on that 28 car.
Wow. And there are no fast repairs either, so you either take the optional damage or you just suck it up. And
you're going to manage it. If you're in Eli Green spot right now, you'll try to get as much as you can without losing a lap. That's going to be his focus right now. He'll watch the pace car, see where the pace car is at. Right before he gets to him, he's going to leave his pit box. So with the flip side of that being a shorter track like Iowa, the pace laps being just about a minute, I mean, you're only going to be able to get like 45 seconds at a time of damage fix, and that's about it. There you see Ryan Swann leaving from the contact earlier with the number 1. Looks like Eli actually might just sit on pit road and try to get it. Oh, no, there he goes. Right when the pace car almost got to him there. But yeah, you can't see it really in this shot, but the pace truck is literally, there you go. You see it right there off of turn 1. I mean, it's like right behind him. He was cutting it close.
This is huge for Eli Green to have an important run here. He's third in the points right now, although it's early. You don't want to fall.
You don't want to get in a hole, yeah.
Yeah.
But thankfully, he's got the 2 top 10s in the last 2 races to kind of fall back on. And that car, I mean, we just saw him running inside the top 10 with the damage. Now, imagine once he gets it fixed, I don't think he'll be too far off. So he might still be able to contend and have a solid finish here tonight. Same goes for Ryan Swann. We saw him on pit road for a pretty short amount of time, so I don't think he'll be too far off either in terms of damage. So I think with the 69 of Gary Lewis getting his lap back with the free pass, I think a lot of these guys are going to be in great shape, and we're going to have 26 cars still on the lead lap here, and I see a lot of them still being competitive.
You know what? I was just about to say, since I believe the 1 is going to get an EOL, that's going to be a second one of the night.
Well, yeah, but it won't go towards, he won't have to do a drive-through penalty. It's not a caution penalty. The first one was because of contingency decals, which we're not supposed to be showing cars without contingencies, but here is the 1 without the contingencies. That's why you had to go towards the back. So he'll get the EOL, a separate one for causing a caution. So it's not necessarily the second EOL. It has to be, your second caution caused.
Lap 39 of 140 here at Iowa under caution. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but you won't miss the thing. We'll be right back.
And they are coming to 1 to green right now on the racetrack. James Shainwolf going to continue to lead the way for the moment. He's going to have Matthew Robinson's going to be starting second for all of you guys who are subscribers here on our Twitch channel. You'll be able to watch all of this live here before we get the green flag. These guys are starting to stack up side by side. And how about this, Hunter? James Shainwolf's going to pick the outside to restart in.
That's going to be interesting to see. Interesting to see how that works.
See Eli coming off the pits, getting another quick hit on those fenders, so he was able to get a little bit of extra time down the pit lane.
Right. Well, we saw how the initial start worked out. It'll be interesting to see how the next restart works out.
And it seemed like earlier with the first start we had of the race, the outside was not the place to be. We saw Rick Christensen start second, and he fell back in a hurry. So we'll see how it pans out here for James Shainwolf in the 31. Pace truck is in. Lap 40. We're going to have 100 laps to go here, and the green flag is back out at Iowa.
Well, a little bit of a snake effect there on the bottom. There you see them start to fan out 2 wide, 3 wide. Some might even take it 4 wide. Going through 1 and 2. Shainwolf still with the lead with Robinson in pursuit.
Barreling off a turn 2. That's a cool shot there. You can just see all the different lines everybody's using, especially on these restarts. They're all sorts of fanned out. There you we got to look, pay attention there to the 28 and the 9. Oh, we got caution in the back.
Spin coming off a turn 4 down the front stretch. Looking like it's the 97 of Jacob York that went around.
Yeah, he's tore up pretty good too. We're going to get a replay here real quick. This is from the restart. This is the 97 though. He is going to be the guy in the caution here. Looked like Dominic DeLeo was following him, and they were 3 wide in front of him. Let's see what happened here. I think it was right when they were coming out of turn 4, Hunter.
He might have clipped the wall coming out of turn 4. And that just upset the car. Now we got loose and then just, oh, that's hard in fact. Overcorrected into the wall. No one hit him, but there you see the front bumper hanging on by a thread. That is not how you want to end your night. Well, not really end your night, but take yourself out of contention.
Yeah, that's going to be I mean, if Eli Green's damage was 3 minutes of optional, then 97 is going to have at least that. But yeah, you documented it perfectly there, Hunter. Overcorrected it, and that front bumper just kind of hanging off there on the white number 97 car. About to come down pit road, and they're going to try to get that fixed as best as they can. But on the flip side of that, with all those guys that already came down pit road, we don't see anybody pitting this time around except for a few guys in the back, one of them being the 28 of Eli Green as expected. He's still going to be working on that race car.
Coverage of the Uriah Swift Lifestyle Pro Series is brought to you by Northern Capital. We would like to give a big thanks to Russ and Steve Anderson of Northern Capital for their support of the Northern Capital Truck Series and from all of us here at Uriah. And you can catch the Northern Capital Truck Series tomorrow night at Iowa on the Uriah Twitch channel.
Yeah, and they'll be doing 150 laps tomorrow night, so pretty similar structure to what we see tonight. There you get a good look there at the 28 when he was coming down pit road. The right side of that car is still pretty tore up, but they're doing an okay job. It looks like getting that thing fixed as best as they can. Looked like a shortstop there for the 33 of Brian Dixon and the 69 of Gary Lewis, potentially fuel only. Then obviously we got the 97 and the 28 who came down for strictly damage repairs.
So far it's been James Shanewolf running the show. Had newcomer Nick Hurley win the pole, lead lap 1, and then just kind of fall to the back. But after that, it's been 31 of Shanewolf.
Well, let's talk about some important things, Hunter. The streak might come to an end here tonight. Green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I was literally going to touch on that before the first yellow came out, but in our first day races in Uriah, we've had a run of green flag pit stops in every single race. And
yeah, all 4 series.
And we were going to have some green flag pit stops there. The first yellow came out, then the second one came out.
If they go green another 50 laps here, you know, these guys still do have to come down pit road at least once. So it's still possible. We'll see, but it's going to be hard, I think, to get these guys with 95 more laps. If they have a caution, you know, throughout almost any point of that, it'll be a yellow flag pit stop. So we'll see. I'll keep my fingers crossed. But I mean, to even have a streak, 8 races in, you know, 2 series, 4 series, both their races having a green flag pit stop to start a league is crazy enough. So I think we can all be happy with that. But if we could get the streak continued at a track like Iowa, that would be absolutely crazy.
Field crossing the line. The lights are still
looking at 2 to green, yeah. You know, I don't think the 97, obviously Jacob York there, he's going to get the EOL for causing the caution, but you got to kind of give him credit there for overcorrecting it and putting it into the outside wall versus just spinning it down to the bottom and taking out more cars with him. Because of that, you know, it was only a 1-car wreck versus taking out a few others and such. So, and in some way, you got to give him a little bit of kudos there on saving some of the guys in the field.
Absolutely, and you see that whenever drivers have a flat tire or so, they're told to keep the car up on the racetrack rather than try to correct it or come back down and end up creating more havoc, causing more cars to be involved in a wreck, just to keep it up top and to minimize the damage for the rest of the field. So, yeah, kudos to Jacob York for not causing a big one there off turn 4. Now the drivers are going to get the one to go here with Shane Wolf. He took the outside lane on the last restart. Looks like he might take it again on this upcoming restart.
And it looks like, yeah, I was about to say, it looks like he is going to take that outside lane again. I like the comments. We got a few people saying, ouch. Ken Cushy over there in the chat said, ouch, when he saw the 97 hit the outside wall. So, yeah, and one of them said, I think his dog jumped in the lap. Now, these things are slick, man, especially on cold tires. They're not easy to keep underneath you, all 4 tires of that race car. So I don't think that'll be the only time we see an overcorrection these next 2 nights here at Iowa.
It'll be interesting seeing these guys come to the restart with Shane Wolf leading the way, Robinson on the bottom, and then Rick Christensen in the back with Jordan Berry in the 57 up to the 4th spot.
And we're still early. We're not even close to halfway yet. So these guys have a lot of time to get their speed down. The sun is completely gone, so the track temp should just keep getting lower and lower as the night goes on here.
Yep, we're about 23 laps from halfway. About 93 for the rest of the race. They come off of turn 4 and the green flag back in the air once more at Iowa.
Another great start. Actually, I think that's a better start there for James Shane Wolf out front. He'll take a commanding lead down into turn 1 and 2.
And there you see the field roaring off the first 2 turns. They're going down the back stretch. Some good hard racing there, and Shane Wolf's going to come off turn 4, lead the lap with Robinson 4 car lengths behind him. Battle for third though between the 02 of Jordan Hurley and the 57 of Jordan Berry.
Battle of the Jordans for the 3rd spot, and then for 5th, we see Rick Christensen and Jake Fleming going at it, but up front, James Shane Wolf continuing to show the way in the number 31 for Audible Racing.
Yep, Robinson not letting him get away though, still there on the bumper, not letting him drive off just yet. You see Hurley still looking underneath the 57 to Berry for that spot. But now here comes Robinson with a massive run on the outside. Side by side going through 3 and 4. Give the 3rd spot to Berry, and the lead still undecided just yet. Robinson with the run up top, he's going to lead the lap. And he's going to clear him on the front stretch here. So put the 40 of Matthew Robinson into the lead.
Robinson, probably not what the rest of the field wanted to see, was that 40 get out front. We saw how dominant he was last week at Homestead.
Yeah, Shane Wolf there, still not letting him go just yet. Wonder if he's going to try his outside, then diamond it down to the bottom once more. Yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. Now for third, though, still heating up. Although Berry got the spot, Hurley's not letting him go just yet. Just like Shane Wolf's not letting the 40 of Robinson go. There you see, they're still side by side for third. Hurley
Yeah,
bottom, Berry up top.
I'm gonna mention that with Berry and Hurley battling down there for the 3rd spot, it's kind of giving these guys up front a little bit of a break, because without that, if those guys were side by side like they were for a moment there, it would actually allow everybody else to kind of catch back up to them. But with that battling, they're kind of canceling each other out and staying even.
Right behind those guys, that's Jake Fleming in the 98 and Rick Christensen, who's fallen back to 6th.
I think once we get a long run in, we'll see this top 10 shake up quite a bit. I think we saw the 02 starting to come in later on in that first run. The 19 was another one of those guys coming in later on in that first run. But then that caution came out right before these guys ended up hitting and kind of canceled it out, right? So we'll have to keep an eye on and see exactly how it pans out if we do end up having to get green flag pit stops. I think we'll see a shake up, man. I really do.
I think we'll see a shakeup as well and some green flag pit stops. They're coming off of the race.
Two of there,
Shugart. Yeah. Whoa! That was close from Shugart, nearly getting into the leaders there. That was definitely eye-raising.
Yeah, I think those cars, I mean, he just came off with a lot of speed going down off a pit road and got in there a little bit hotter than he wanted to. And with those cold tires, man, if you try to jerk the wheel real quick to the left or whatever, trying to get out of their way, that leads to making it worse. So did as good as he could to try to, slow it down and keep it out of their way. And he actually moved out of the way for the most part, it looks like. I believe so.
He's going to move up another spot in just a few laps because Jacob York has parked it for the night. He's the first driver out of the night's race. There's a half a second gap between Robinson and Shane Wolf, and then look no further than the 02 of Jordan Hurley. He's also half a second back from Shane Wolf, as we should see the second place battle start to heat up in a few laps.
Right now, we got Robinson with a win from last week at Homestead. And again, early on in the playoff picture, that whole idea of playoffs, it's still, 10 races out before we even get to that point. But if you're Matthew Robinson and you can keep clicking off wins in the regular season, essentially you're blocking those wins for other people to get locked in, and you keep them on edge. So I wonder if that's something that's in the back of his mind already.
I mean, it could be. Very well could be. Mind can focus on a lot of things.
Well, I mean, if if you got 3-4 wins, that's taking away every extra win takes away somebody else, a spot to lock themselves in the playoffs, right? So it kind of keeps them on edge, you know what I mean? And a mistake here or there can knock somebody out of the playoffs. So if you're somebody like Robinson, who's one of the faster cars in the series, and you're worried, you got to worry about Rick Christensen, James Shane Wolf, the 84 Forrest Smith, 66 Bobby Tinch. If you're worrying about those guys, and you can keep getting these wins off and allowing them to not win a race, essentially, and not being locked in, one mistake here or there, and all of a sudden they could be outside the playoffs looking in.
Also got to worry about the 0-2 of Jordan Hurley as he's going down on the bottom, side by side in the 1 and 2 there with the 31 of James Shane Wolf. Shane Wolf trying to hold his ground on the outside. There you see again the run on the exit of the corner. And Hurley and the number 0-2 there going to run the top, try and create a run. Let's ride on board with him as they come down the front stretch. Ooh. Close to giving a bump to that 31. Might give it to him here. Ooh, so close as there he gets a run there. Down on the bottom, going through 3 and 4 side by side. The 0-2 on the bottom, the 31 up top. These guys keep it up. They're going to bring in the 57 to Jordan Berry along. Right now, Shane was starting to hold on to that second spot.
Yeah, I was going to note that it seems really hard to pass right now at this racetrack because of the way these cars get the runs, with it being a multi-groove track. If somebody tries to pass you low, you can get a run on the top. If somebody tries to pass you up high, you can get a run on the bottom. So because of that, these guys are really able to defend their position and fight hard to keep that guy behind them. That's exactly what we saw there with the 31 of James Shane.
Aaron Robinson's egging on that foul because he's driving away from those guys.
But again, long way to go still. These guys get into a green flag pit stop. It could flip this running order completely upside down. It really could.
Absolutely it can. We saw it last week in Homestead with a late race yellow, and that definitely spiced some things up. Well, that was in the Cup Series. I'm thinking back to the Cup Series.
There you see the battle again for second this time. Now James Shane Wolf is on the bottom with Jordan Hurley on the top side of the racetrack. So this time they flip the roles and the 0-2 gets to run down the back straightaway, move him to the second spot.
Yep, one of the 3 newer drivers in the race tonight, along with Dustin Carroll and the 81 of Jeremy Horn. The 0-2 of Jordan Hurley. Definitely a name to watch as the night goes on.
Things have really settled out compared to what we were looking at for those first 2 cautions. I mean, we had, a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing, especially in that first run. Remember the pack we saw outside the top 10, and it was right around Nolan Neiman. It looks like it's right around Nolan Neiman again. But this time, he's working around the 15th spot. It's the 92 there on the bottom. That's Dustin Carroll.
Yep, and then here we go further in the back there with the 21 car, Dominic DeLeo.
He's right there in the 19th spot. Oh, man.
Trying to clear the 3 of Kevin Hayes there for 19th.
That over-under bet for Dominic DeLeo's finishing position was 14.5. I didn't expect the over to hit.
Well, life's too short to bet the under for.
There you go.
It is still early on. We're nearing halfway, though. I mean, anything can happen.
I was going to note, too, the 28 of Eli Green was closing in on the back bumper there. He has not been able to break back into the top 20 since he had to come down on pit road under caution and repair that race car.
Yep, still about 70 laps here at Iowa.
These 2 are racing hard off the corner.
Yeah, they're still going at it. Looking like the 31's going to make a move. Nope, he fakes him out, goes on the outside. Watch him diamond it back down, get a run on the bottom. Set him up for this corner right here. He chooses to stay tucked in behind the 0-2.
Yeah, I would assume that they would try to stay tucked in as much as they can versus battling side by side. It'll really just hurt their chances at winning. But again, only halfway through the race, you got 70 to go now. Long ways from now until the finish, so I don't know. I think it might be a little too early to start sending it in and trying to work together for the win. I think you got a lot of positions yet that are still going to be changed throughout the field. Up front, though, Robinson continuing to show the way. Only car we really see by himself outside of the top 5 or so is just that leader, Matthew Robinson.
Yep, let's go ahead and get a halfway rundown then presented by Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor, Swift Lifestyles, for clean supplements that help improve your focus and gaming. Use discount code AREA iRacing, that's AREA iRacing, for 15% off your entire order. We'd like to give a big thank you and a shout out to Swift Lifestyles for their support of the Swift Lifestyle proceeds. Let's get to it. Matthew Robinson, currently your leader right now. He's definitely picked up the pace here, taking the lead about 20 laps ago or so, and he hasn't looked back since.
And then the second place driver, Jordan Hurley, our pole sitter earlier in the night, he's had a solid run. He stayed around the top 5 for most of this race. He was able to lead that first lap, but had to fall back a little bit after that, a little bit of tire conservation, it looked like, and he drove back inside the top 5. He's currently running second. And right behind him, James Shainwolf in the 31, one of the newer drivers. He's on Audible Racing, and they're looking to start that team off on the right track with a good finish here tonight for the 31 of James Shainwolf. He led, coincidentally, 31 laps earlier.
Driver still looking to lead his first laps tonight is Jordan Berry in the 57. Had a quiet night, but he's driven himself into the top 5, and he's looking to set himself up for potential win later tonight. There, Jake Fleming in the 98. He's one of the drivers, I believe, to start in the rear of the field due to contingency issues, and he's showing his speed right now. He's driven all the way back up inside the top 5.
And right behind him, none other than the 19, Rick Christensen, who seems to have a longer run car, but at the moment, he's outside the top 5, looking to race his way back in after qualifying in the second spot. Right behind him, though, is the 84 of Forrest Smith, one of the drivers for One Mind to Design Motorsports, who's one of those guys who's had a quiet night so far outside the top 10. He actually started in the 7th spot, and he's kind of stayed there for the most part. We've seen him battling in that big pack right there at the back half of the top 10, but he's currently running 7th.
Currently 8th is Nicholas Hall, the Daytona winner. He's had a quiet night so far, although he was in the middle of a...
I feel like we say that for everyone.
Well, quiet night meaning hasn't caused any trouble just yet, but he's been in a hornet's nest or two definitely before in this race, and right now he's staying quiet in that 8th spot.
This guy's definitely not had a quiet night. Trevor Williams, EOL at the beginning of the race, and then an EOL after the first caution, so he's came from the back twice already, and he's drove that number 1 car up to 9th. Solid run for him. He's got a long way to go, though, if he wants to get back up there in contention for the win. And then the 66 of Bobby Tinch, rounding out our top 10 and our full field, well, I guess top 10 rundown halfway past the race. Samson Motorsports driver looking for a solid run. Teammate Sean Corcoran also did not start the race tonight, so could be a little bit of a blow there for Samson's points lead.
Very well could be, and that was your halfway rundown presented by Swift Lifestyles.
And we got a good green flag run here going, Hunter. I think these guys might, knock on wood, might be getting that green flag pit stop in here. I mean, we still got about 15 laps or so before I expect to see anybody hit pit road, but I think, with the way things are going for the moment, could see the streak continue.
Yeah, we're seeing these guys that are going now on 43 laps on their current tire and fuel run, although fuel really won't be an issue. It's just a matter of tires, because there's only a certain amount of tires. As I believe they're already on their first set, and they only have 2 more after that.
Correct, yeah. All those guys came down under that first caution and put on 4 tires, so they only have those 2 remaining sets. So, like Harold was talking about earlier, he would split it up to 50 lap, pit on lap 50, and then pit on lap 100. We saw them come down a little bit before lap 50. I believe that caution was right around lap 40. So anytime between lap 90 and 105, I would expect to see a lot of these guys come down and take their second set.
I'm just looking throughout the field there. Ryan Swann has fallen all the way back to 22nd. Not really sure what the issue is with him, although he was running in the top 10 through close to the top 5 at one point in the night. Not really sure what's happened with him.
Well, we saw the damage he got with the 15 after he was spun out there. And, that contact on the front end of the race car is one of the worst spots to get it. We see a little bit of scrapes on the left side as well. But compared to somebody like Eli Green, both those damaged race cars, I just think it's crazy because with a short track like Iowa, I mentioned it at the top of the night, I didn't expect to see damage be a factor. But both of those cars we see with damage haven't been able to race into the top 20 yet.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think that Ryan Swann would have an issue driving through the pack with the damage, but him and Eli Green, 22nd, 23rd on the track right now. big issues for those guys as the race goes on and the battle goes on. This is the top 5 spot. So Fleming got past, or no, he didn't get past. They were still battling when we were in the middle of our halfway rundown. They're still battling after the rundown. Rick Christensen right behind him, the 19, looking for that top 5 spot. They're within reach of the next driver in front of them, Jordan Berry. Back here, this is Dominic DeLeo in the 21. He's currently working his way through the field. That's a battle for 12th with Brandon Hedrick. Pardon me, Hedrick.
Brandon Hedrick, yep, there you go.
Every time I see that, I want to say Hendrick.
Yeah, no end though, no end. He's got the head.
Oh.
I don't even know what I'm going to say now.
Well, he had the run there, and right behind those two, it's the 15 of Nolan Neiman. He was in that caution with Ryan Swann there.
I was going to mention, if you go to the 66 of Bobby Tench, who's running 9th for the moment, he's kind of like in this little bit of a, I want to call it a pack, because you see it's only those 3 cars, but they have been running very consistent speed with all 3 of them. It's the 66 of Bobby Tench, the 81 of Jeremy Horn, and then the 1 of Trevor Williams, who we actually see hitting pit road.
Yep, there we go. It's one of our first pit stops of the night, nearing lap 50 on this run. We mentioned, or Harold mentioned earlier, that he could do 50, 50, 40 with tire runs. So we're seeing the first of our drivers that are pulling over 50 laps.
Well, I was going to say, with that first pit stop being right around lap 40, 50 laps from there would be right around lap 90. So they'll actually be running it backwards. They'll be doing 40, 50, 50.
Right.
But we'll see. I mean, some of these guys might go even longer. They could probably stretch it upwards to, lap 100, 105, 110 if they really could, if they really wanted to. We saw a few cars that I mentioned under the second caution, which came out just a few laps after the first caution. We saw a handful come in for fuel only. So those guys could, potentially go all the way up to lap 115 or so.
Up in there, we saw Dominic DeLeo now up to the 11th spot after he passed the 12 of Brandon Hedrick. There you see the leader, Robinson, and right behind him is the 1 of Trevor Williams. I'm going to look at the lap. Whoa! Just about touch on the lap times and see how the fresh tires are, but going to keep sliding like that. Those fresh tires are going to go to waste really quick.
Yeah, it's the first lap or two, man, when they put those new tires on. It is just so slick, especially in turn 4. We've seen that be the trouble spot here early on.
I mean, here you can see a clear difference. Matthew Robinson's going on 52 laps with his tires, and the 1 of Trevor Williams just about to take his second lap around with those new tires.
And so we'll take a look at it there. He's really about a car length or 2 ahead of the leader when he hit the stripe. Now let's see how far he is when they come back around just 1 lap later. We can see the last lap time there. For the moment, it's about, low 25s for most of the field, 25 1s, 25 2s. We'll see what the number 1 runs this time around.
He ran a 24.4 that last time compared to Robinson's 25.2, so about 0.8 faster.
Shane Wolf is in. We saw another car come down as well. I believe there was an Audible Racing machine. I'm trying to find out which one. It's the 55 there of Adam Capps.
Yep, Adam Capps is on pit road. The drivers are now on 55 laps on their run. That'll be 56 now, with Robinson staying on the racetrack.
Only 3 guys that have came down pit road. Sorry about that. I was going to say only 3 guys who came down pit road already.
Yep, less than 50 to go. I think they're going to try.
Eli Green is in.
They're definitely going to try and, we'll see some try and stretch as far as they can with fuel. And then at the very end, the tires will play a factor. If this
comes to 40, you see the 9 of Ryan Swann just in front of him as well. I'm sorry, that's actually the 87. He's in, as well as the 9 of Ryan Swann. And no, the 40 is in. That's Matthew Robinson as well.
Yep.
Cycles the lead over to the 02.
Yep, the 02 of Hurley back in the lead, going to be 2 laps down on the 9th, led by him. We have another driver coming down pit road. Just saw him. Oh.
It's the 81 of Jeremy Horn.
Yep, Jeremy Horn. The 02 is going to stay out some more, along with Barry, Fleming.
Harold switches it back over to the interval. We'll be able to see these guys when they get on pit road.
And just saw the.
There we go. So you got Christensen on pit road, Brandon Hedrick on pit road, Nicholas Halden, Jeremy Horn, we documented those guys are actually completing their stops now. There you see the 81 pulling out. The 02 still on track though, Hunter.
Yep, O2 still going, logging laps in. He's banking on this to go caution-free the rest of the way, so he can use, well, almost got on the wall that time, so he could use the advantage of the newer tires.
He'll be coming in.
Out, and the newer your tires will be, the better the advantage will have. Yep.
There he comes.
The O2 on the pit road.
Also see the 98 of Jake Fleming is also on already.
Shout out to Sunoco there. Big sign. Yep, so give the lead to Jordan Berry in the 57.
Got the 18 of Caleb Steimer now calling out that he's going to be coming in from the 10th spot.
This would be a bad time for a yellow to come out in the middle of these pit stops.
Yes, it would, but you know what this means, Hunter? Another streak. Or added to the streak, I should say.
Yep. That's 9 races in a row now with green flag pit stops, or at least a cycle of green flag pit stops in every race so far in Orion. So the Truck Series has a big task on hand tomorrow night.
There you see the 02, Jordan Hurley. He's completed his pit stop, so that leaves just a handful of guys yet to come down pit road. Everybody pretty much inside that top, looks like the top 9 have yet to come down pit road. And so Jordan Berry, Forrest Smith, Bobby Tinch, Dom DeLeo, Dustin Carroll, Brian Dixon, Kevin Hayes, Gary Lewis, and Rick Ward have yet to make their second pit stop of the night.
Yep, and most of these guys are going over 60 laps now in their run. But Brian Dixon and Gary Lewis they're 56 and 55 laps in on their run. So they can go about another 5 to 7 laps or so if they want to.
You know, I also wonder if a lot of those guys behind Jordan Berry are just waiting for him to hit pit road, and then they can get that lap lead and that bonus point for leading the lap, and then they'll come down pit road following him. So,
yep, very well could be.
I mean, we've been talking about points since the top of the night like it's the cutoff race, but it is important.
Now the leader, Jordan Berry, on the pit road. Coming in
Berry
hot.
gets it hot.
Yeah.
How are you saying the same thing all night long? But there you go. See, now Forrest Smith is going to lead that lap, get the bonus point, and in addition to him getting the bonus point, the team standings, One Mind to Design, will also get a bonus point for leading the lap.
And there you see on the left-hand side, Bobby Tinch has also gone down pit road.
And Forrest is running up high, really close to the wall in turns 3 and 4. Haven't seen that a lot tonight.
That's about as close as you could get to the Larson line there. There's always one driver that likes to get really close to that wall.
And he just called out he'll be pitting this time around. And the next guy that'll cycle to the lead, which we'll see if he stays out or not, Dominic DeLeo in the 21 might get his first lap lead of the season. Unless he pits this time.
Very well could be. Whoa, that's the 98 of Fleming nearly getting into the back of him. He's going to stay out.
And there we see the 84 is in pit road. Leader at the stripe, the 21 of Dominic DeLeo. That should have been a prop bet.
Very well it should have been.
Well, he lead a lap tonight.
Would have cashed in big, yeah.
I don't know. The odds probably wouldn't have been too bad on that. But nonetheless, the 21 Dominic DeLeo does lead a lap. And now him, the 33 of Brian Dixon, the 3 of Kevin Hayes, and the 34 of Rick Ward, the only 4 drivers yet to pit.
Yep, and looking amongst the drivers that have pitted with the newer tires, Shane Wolf, sorry. Shane Wolf is the furthest one. And then behind him, Robinson, Hurley, Christensen, and Trevor Williams.
21 called it out.
Come down pit road this time by. There's the leader transitioning from the banking to the apron, now to the pit road. As there you see, much smoother that time by, rather than getting in hot.
Yeah. And now Brian Dixon is going to get a lap lead. So a lot of bonus points being passed around tonight.
Yep, still some drivers who have yet to pit. Kevin Hayes going on 68 laps. Rick Ward going on 68 laps also.
Oh, Eric Shugart, I believe, the 2. He just called out that he was pitting. He is 5 laps down from an earlier incident, but he is also making a second stop now.
He's going on 50 laps on his run. There you see the 87 of Halda going past the leader there, Brian Dixon.
Dixon, how many laps has he been staying out here, Hunter? What's your count?
This will be 64 when he crosses the line this time.
Wow.
64.
That's a little bit over. So these guys, I wonder if these guys could have stretched it to 70 and made it a one-stop race. I don't know how fast that would have been had we have went green the whole way, but...
Well, speaking of stretching it to 70, Kevin Hayes just stretched it to 70, that 3-car.
Wow. Well, that was with the caution, though. That's, that second caution that came out, so that saved a little bit of fuel. But, yeah, interesting, though, that these guys can make it that far. See another car on pit road there.
It almost wouldn't surprise me if these guys that are staying out the longest, if they take 2 tires to try and switch up the strategy and try and salvage a better finish.
Yeah. Well, I think, we saw how loose these guys are in turn 4 on fresh tires, and that's with 4. When you take 2, that's going to be 10 times worse. So I don't know if these guys should do that, but we'll see if they decide to. We've seen stranger things.
And we could have a battle for the lead here because Dixon and Hayes, they're within a second of each other.
I was going to mention a battle for the lead when everything cycles through. We see James Shanewolf is actually going to be the leader.
The 3 is dropping pace quick. I think he might be making his pit stop here.
I think he, oh no?
He was just dropping pace really quick. He was about 8 car lengths back from Dixon at one point. Now it's about 1.6 seconds. But the longer these guys stay out, the more they're screwing themselves up. Shanewolf is in 3rd.
Whoa.
Here you see the lap car there going down below the yellow. Yeah, that was Shugart. Look at Shanewolf. He's less than 6 seconds back from the leader.
Yeah, well, these guys, like you said, they've been staying out so long, those tires are pretty much toast at this point. But James Shanewolf was not the leader when these green flag pit stops started. He was second, battling. Actually, he was 3rd battling with the O2 of Jordan Hurley. So now he's going to be the leader when this all cycles through, and he's going to have to hold off the 40 Matthew Robinson, who's closing in very quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say Robinson might pass him before he passes these 2 drivers that have yet to pit, Dixon and Hayes.
Yeah, there you see it.
On that battle for 3rd, Robinson only has 3 laps fresher on those tires than Shanewolf.
That'll pay off. 3 laps is enough to make a little bit of a difference.
So looking at the drivers here, if everything, once the top 2 pit, that's going to put the 57 to Jordan Berry in the top 5.
They got stacked up there around the lap cars.
Jordan Berry is 11 laps fresher tires than Shanewolf and 8 fresher than Robinson. He can make a charge through the field. So we got battling now, nearly contact being made.
Those are the lappers. Brandon Hedrick and Ryan Swann there on the outside going 1 lap down.
Battle for 15th and the battle for 3rd all in one shot. Great job, Harold.
Well, it's going to move those 2 now in front of the 12. So actually, not only is that the battle for 15th, but once those front 2 pit, it'll actually be the battle for the free pass.
Yep, and there you see the 3 of Hayes going down pit road. Went about, let's say, 77 laps on that front for the 3.
So that leaves the 33 of Brian Dixon as the only car yet to pit on this green flag pit stop. I said they might stretch it to 115. I think he's the only one who's going to actually do it, it looks like.
He took up on your offer.
Now we got a battle for the potential race lead. The 40 and Matthew Robinson on the bottom of James Shanewolf.
Shanewolf trying to run the top, get the run off the corner to keep himself in front of the 40 for now. But Robinson with the better tires on the inside of the racetrack, the shorter way around. Here they come off turn 4. Dead heat between Shanewolf and Robinson.
Yeah, I was going to say the more these 2 battle.
Hurley, he's closing in. This could be a 3-car battle for the win here, potentially.
Did he pit after these 2 as well?
Jordan Hurley did. He has 3 laps fresher than Robinson and 6 fresher than Shanewolf.
That can be a big move then. Those fresh tires will come into play for sure, especially if these 2 stay battling. The 33 is in, so now it's going to cycle the lead officially over to the 31 of James Shanewolf.
And Shanewolf right now holding on. Whoa, we got contact there. Hedrick, slid up in front of the 21 there of DeLeo.
Good save, though, by both those drivers.
Yeah, nearly catastrophic there for those guys. And that definitely would have changed everything.
And it moves the 21 to the free pass position.
And here comes the 40 of Robinson there. No, he's going to keep it tucked in. The O2 of Hurley closing in also.
We got a 3-car race for the win, pretty much, with only 23 laps to go here.
Robinson there loose on corner exit, bringing the O2 just a smidge closer.
I think those fresh tires, Hunter, that's going to be big for the O2. I really do.
Yep, here he comes, trying to get a run on the 40. He's going to stay tucked in. There you see right behind him, that's the 21 of Dominic DeLeo. Actually, that might be... Oh, yeah, that is DeLeo. Sorry, I got my leaderboard confused.
Well, you remember he pitted. There you go. I was going to say, you remember Dom stayed out, Dominic DeLeo back there for an extended period of time, so he actually has fresher tires than all three of these guys.
Indeed he does. So kind of a role reversal here where lap traffic could play a factor into the battle for the lead, but not in the way you'd expect it. Right now the O2 is going to move up to second, passing Robinson on the outside. He's all over that bumper of Shane Wolf. Here he comes on the bottom of turn 4. Going to be side by side here as they come down the line. Going to be 20 to go when they cross the line.
What a battle we got formed up here after almost 100 laps under green almost. I mean, we had our last caution over 70 laps ago at this point. And whoa!
Shane Wolf going to kiss the wall coming out of 2. That's going to put the 40 of, almost said Shane Wolf again, put the 40 of Robinson to second. And now here comes the lap car of Dominic DeLeo trying to get his lap back. Shane Wolf not giving up on the outside of the 40 just yet. But the O2 of Hurley just taking the lead, and he's gone.
I was going to mention, it was almost a role reversal with what we saw with James Shanewolf when he was battling with the lead with Eli Green. Green was the one on the right rear who got put into the wall. That time it was almost James Shanewolf.
But now Robinson's passed Shane Wolf. Cleared him. Catching up on another lap car there. That's a 15 of Nolan Neiman that they're going to catch.
It's Jordan Hurley leading the way now with Matthew Robinson in second, but for the Jordan Hurley fans out there, he does have the freshest tires of all three of these race cars. It's going to be about how he manages these tires. Hopefully he didn't burn them up too quick trying to catch that front two.
Yep, and they are catching the lap car of Nolan Neiman there with 15. I would assume he'd keep it on the outside or as far away from the battle here as possible. And this kind of died down in the midst of the battle.
Well, I mean, these three are still roped in under a second between all three of them, so it's not over by any means yet as Jordan Hurley now works on the lap car of Nolan Neiman. This will put Nolan Neiman in the free pass for the moment, so a solid run tonight for the 15 car. I mean, he's only 12th, and he's already the free pass position, so these guys are putting on a quick pace up front.
And the car behind him that could contend for that lead pass is the 21 of Dominic DeLeo.
And you see those fresh tires are really helping him out a bunch by being able to stick with these leaders. And like you mentioned, now he's going to be in position to battle for the free pass with the 15 of Nolan Neiman. But none of that matters if we don't get a caution flag here. And we're working 15 laps to go already here tonight at Iowa. Right now, Jordan Hurley is setting sail a little bit from the second place car of Matthew Robinson. And bad news for James Shanewolf with the oldest tires out of all three of them. He's stuck in some lap traffic as well. And it's a battle for the free pass.
Yeah, he's stuck behind Neiman, and he's got DeLeo on his...
They're too wide now behind him. Right in front of him, I should say. The 21 working the bottom of Nolan Neiman, and he'll easily get around him and take away the free pass position for the moment.
I mean, luckily for Shanewolf, though, the nearest car on the lead lap is Christensen. He's about 5 seconds back from him, so he can ride around in third till the checkered flies if he wants to.
Still got 13 to go here. Jordan Hurley, the pole sitter, went back outside the top 5. Then he worked his way up to the first spot again with some good pit strategy there on his second green flag stop. Matthew Robinson running second, one of the dominant cars we saw last week at Homestead, who's had a solid night so far tonight. I just don't think we saw that dominance tonight from the 40 that we saw last week.
No, we did not. And I would definitely think that the two back-to-back yellows definitely played a factor into this because of strategy and whatnot. And then all in all, just drivers deciding when to pit and how far they could go on tires.
We got Jake Fleming around on the back straightaway in the wall on the inside. No caution yet, but the 98 is backwards. Swings it around to get moving here. And caution comes out now.
Oh, And there you see, it was a hard hit to the inside wall there for the 98 of Fleming. And Jake, this caution just changed everything. Because look who is going to be in the free pass position. It's the 21 of Dominic DeLeo.
The admins are looking into this because of the way he got going there and the speed of which, you know, I mean, he slid around there a couple times before the caution flag came out. So the admins are going to be taking a close look there at the number 98, and we'll have to see what happens.
You think he tried to itch his arm in there?
Not sure exactly what happened, but it brought out the caution nonetheless. They don't sound very pleased right now with the 98.
So usually you'd want, there, instead of turning back onto the racetrack, you should have turned towards the infield and spun the car around.
And here comes the leaders now. So Jordan Hurley, the 40 of Matthew Robinson, and the 31 of James Shaneworth. Those top three are going to come down and use their last set of tires within 10 to go.
Yep, and one thing to look for, we saw the 02. He does not have a good short run car, but one driver that does is the 40 of Robinson. So that'll be interesting to see, regardless of where these guys come out on pit road when the green flag flies once more, when we'll see the battles.
I think Hurley was actually had the intention of a long green run to begin with, and with the caution coming out with the 40 laps, made him actually get up on the horse a little bit earlier in the second set. So I think he's got the speed. He just was trying to, you know, go probably 70 laps on his first set, so that's why he fell back so quickly.
Look at Matthew Robinson. He definitely took at least 2 tires or did something different. He came out way in front of these guys.
Looks like a 2-tire stop, 9.6 in the box.
Yeah, so that's a 2-tire stop there for the 40 at Matthew Robinson. He'll cycle to the race lead now. Another note I wanted to make was right there on the bottom of the screen, the 21 car, Dominic DeLeo. We were watching him battle the 15 for the free pass, and it actually ended up paying off. He got his lap back.
Yep, indeed, he got his lap back. That should put the cars on the lead lap. Actually, no, it looks like... Hey, I just had that and I lost. Should be 11 cars on the lead lap.
Once we get everything settled down, it looks like because the leaders came down, those cars that were a lap down came around and did not pit. So everybody's on the lead lap except for Rick Ward and Eric Shugart, according to the timing.
So those guys are going to take the waiver round then. Put the field at 23 drivers on the lead lap. One driver DNFing out of 26, that's Jacob York, and then, as Harold mentioned, 2 drivers, a lap down or multiple laps down in this case, Rick Ward 24th and Eric Shugart 25th. But an interesting call here from Robinson, taking 2 tires, not sure if it was right side or left side. Regardless, though, his 2 tires brought him into the lead. I had flirted at the idea of drivers staying out on the green flag run taking 2 tires, but I did not expect someone to take 2 tires under caution. I believe it was right side.
Right side tires, right side tires.
Thank you for the replay, Harold. That was right sides on the 40 of Robinson.
Kind of typical of a 2-tire stop to take the outside tires anyway, so that's pretty much what I was going to say, but we just double check.
Should be getting the one to go this time by when they come across the stripe this time by, and there should be a green flag with about 5 to go. Coverage of the Arias, botched it there. Coverage of the Arias Swift Lifestyle Pro Series is brought to you by Sim Speed Shop. We would like to thank Sim Speed Shop for their support of the Sim Speed Shop Cup Series. Racers can visit their website at www.simspeedshop.com to find multiple items to complete their virtual racing subs, such as button boxes, wheels, racing gear, and more. That's www.simspeedshop.com. You can catch the Sim Speed Shop Cup Series here on Thursday nights on the Arrive Twitch channel. There you see the field going by. Looks like at a much quicker pace. Yep. There's a pace truck. See the field bunched up here with Matthew Robinson on the outside and Jordan Hurley on the inside. So Robinson taking 2 tires on that last pit stop, right side tires. Everyone else behind him took 4. When they cross the stripe this time, it'll be 5 to go here at Iowa. Pace truck about to make the hard left turn on the pit road. Robinson, the control car. And here we go, green flag underway. A big jump by Robinson. That could be all he needs.
Yeah, that was a great jump there for the 40 and Matthew Robinson.
There you see, oh, we got a spin in the back. Cars around in turns 2. So drivers are approaching turn 3, so that's going to bring out the yellow once more. Looks
I see
we
that
have
one of
multiple
Trevor
cars.
Williams is involved. Bunch of guys
Cars
involved.
are
19 of Rick
sliding.
Christensen, it looks like.
Well, we'll get a good look of it here from our one to go replay. Didn't quite get a look here, and it looks like, yep, the one getting into the back of the 19 of Christensen. Oh, there you see the 81 going into the wall, and then the one of Williams. Boy, oh boy, that's the 3rd time the one car is. Oh man. There, see, he gets into the bumper of Christensen here, just keeps pushing on him. Getting into the 66 of Tinch, and then the 81 car of Horn.
That's tough right there for Jeremy Horn to get involved as well.
Now it looks like we'll have a setup here for a green-white checker. Now there's only one attempt at a green-white checker. And basically after they take the green, then the white flag will come out, or the caution comes out, then the race is over. So we had that happen at Daytona. Drivers made it to turn 3 on the 2 to go when they were coming to the white flag, and the caution came out after a wreck in turn 3 that ended the race. Take a look at our race recap so far, presented by Elwood Designs. Matthew Robinson, currently your leader. Going to lead 50 laps when they come around. 4 cautions now for 18 laps. 26 drivers in the field, although we have 23 currently on the lead lap. That could change. Yep, 21 on the lead lap. And Eli Green, although he's got damage and has been in the back, have the fastest lap of the race with a 23.803.
There's a lot going on here at the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see Robinson. I believe he might take the outside once more, but that launch he got, if he gets that again, that might be his race.
It looked to me that he caught the 0-2 off guard, or the 0-2 had an issue with his shifting, because he bottled up Shane Wolf in the 31 right behind him on that restart. So we'll see how this restart works with the 0-2 and the 40 coming on this time by.
Yeah, and this isn't like NASCAR where you have to go in the restart box. As soon as that truck goes on the pit road, you can go whenever you want to, and Robinson goes immediately, and it just catches the field off guard every time. Field comes across the line. Pace lights still on the pace truck, so that's the 2 to go. Well, guys, what have you thought about the race so far? As we're past the scheduled distance.
I think this is kind of what we expected tonight out of Iowa, was to get something where it comes down to the end and things start to break loose a little bit, both on the track and, I mean, even, mentally with these drivers. Obviously tensions are high. The Trevor Williams, the #1 machine there, he owned up to the incident, but he's just trying to push as hard as he can, and I think that's what we'll see here at the end of this race and what we've been seeing already.
Yep, that's a tough break for Christensen there too. He had a solid run all night, and that late race yellow, just the adrenaline levels and the anxiety just gets higher and higher as the laps dwindle, and it's go time in this scenario. There'll be even more go time here when it's a green-white checkered and the field doubling up. Gonna get the 1 to go here this time by. The lights go out on the pace truck. Don't look now, but look who's in the 7th spot. It's the 21 of Dominic DeLeo. He was the lucky dog on the second to last caution. and now he's running in the 7th spot. And if you bet on the under of 14.5 for his finish, you're looking pretty good right now.
Well, we got 21 on the lead lap. That's one of the things I was going to note there. How about the rebound for Eli Green? 10th spot, Hunter. After all that damage, he couldn't get even inside the top 20 with the speed of that race car. Was able to catch a few cautions, get that thing fixed, and now he's inside the top 10 with a green-white checker to boot.
Yep, starting to rally late here. We're going to have a green-white checker to sell it out. The 40 of Robinson, the control car. The 02 of Hurley in second on the bottom. Pace truck going to make the hard left turn on the pit road. Here we go. Green flag for the final time at Iowa.
And what's going to be key for these guys up front is to make it back to the white flag. It might not be any of their doing. We'll have to see how they race further back in the pack. But right now, Robinson's going to jump out to a huge lead. Loose between
there goes
the
Barry in the wall.
He's going to save it.
He keeps it up.
Dom DeLeo goes sliding off at turn 2 as well. No caution yet. Up front, Matthew Robinson's going to make it back to the white flag.
Yep, 1 to go in the air, presented by 1 to go Studios. The battle for second behind.
Inner off of 4. It's the 55 of Adam Capps went around.
Got cars spread out all over the place, wrecking, spinning. Here comes the 02 of Hurley. Could we see a Louisiana dive bomb? They go through 3 and 4 for the final time. Robinson on the bottom, Hurley on the top. Not going to be enough. Bring the 40 of Robinson to victory lane for the second time of the season. He wins at Iowa.
That was crazy there at the end. We saw a lot of people sliding.
Yeah, I mean, got to wreck what? In turn 2, turn 3,
Forward.
at turn 4. The only thing missing was a wreck in turn 1. Well, if you bet the over on Dominic DeLeo, you won.
That slide there at the end cost them big time off of turn 2. But Matthew Robinson, nonetheless, what a victory.
Yeah, what a victory this is. It's just going to add to his points lead. 2 races down, 3 wins on the year. That's 2 in a row for this kid.
And I think he will be a tough one to contend with this season.
No, absolutely. So you see his burnouts on the front stretch here. Still doing it.
And it's his second win back-to-back, as Hunter documented, and we'll get a chance to talk to him here in just a few moments.
Yeah, but I'm looking through our leaderboard right now. Eli Green rallied for a top 5 finish.
That's crazy. That is insane.
It was early on in the race for Eli Green to have his issues, but he rallied back, got a top 5. Great
And
finish for
Matthew
him.
Robinson, I was going to mention, he is parked, and we'll get a chance to bring him up here, Hunter.
Yep, here's our race winner, Matthew Robinson. This is Hunter, Jake, and Harold in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. What a race you guys have been putting on. I mean, this is 2 in a row for you, and things started to change as we got towards the halfway break. Kind of take us through how your race has been.
Well, it had a bad qualifying effort and just not a lot of practice. I got home late from work and I hopped in the shower and then hopped on here and, just made my way up to the front and I had a good long green flag run. And then looking at our fuel situation, looked like it was going to be, we'd had to pit sort of late and it looked like we were going to have to split the fuel run there, or it looked like James was, and so I followed suit with James and just to stay on pace with him. And Jordan, he pitted a little bit later than us, and he got better tires, and it was a good race right there with all 3 of us right there before those cautions come out. But yeah, man, it had a pretty decent car all night. Felt pretty confident with the run.
Yeah, you 3 were putting on quite the battle there at the very end. Kind of take us through that last pit stop, because you took 2 tires to get track position, and you didn't turn your back after you took the lead.
Yeah, me and in this other league, me and my buddy Lane Dole, we done the same thing at Iowa, and it was about like the same 10-lap shootout and 10 or 5-lap shootout, whatever it was, and we held them off, and so I done the same thing. And here at Iowa, it don't really wear your tires out too much, and So I felt pretty confident with it. I knew I wasn't going to really push it too hard and get too messed up. I wasn't real sure how it was going to feel with the older tires on the left side, but definitely the win of the race right there. Jordan definitely had the track position. I needed that back to win the race. It's harder to pass here.
Yep. Any special shout outs to sponsors or whatnot before you go off and celebrate your win?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Justin Rideout, JW Racing. I'd like to thank Nick Holda and Patrick Moore. They were up here in the chat room with me and helping each other out and spotting me and talking fuel strategy and pit strategy, and couldn't do without them, man. It was a whole team effort. Great job with the whole team. Proud to get another win here in area.
All right, we'll let you go celebrate. That's win number 2 on the season, 2 in a row for Matthew Robinson. Thank you, Matthew.
Thanks.
Yep, that was Matthew Robinson in the 40, coming home with the win. Want to point out that Jacob Bell is currently in the admin tower with Brad Slaughter and Ryan Swann. A little bit of controversy there at the end with one of the cautions, so just checking up on that. In the meantime, let's bring up our second place finisher, Jordan Hurley. Jordan, it's Hunter and Harold in the booth. How's it going?
Not bad. How are you guys?
We're good. We we enjoyed the show that you, Robinson, and Shane Wolf put on. Kind of take us through your race, your first race in the Riot Swift Lifestyle Pro Series.
Yeah, I kind of let them gang up on me on the first run. I was just kind of getting my feet wet. And, I was kind of trying to save my tires because it was a long race. Stay out of trouble. And then the second run, the second long green flag run, I kind of went for it. I wanted to get up front and not lose the front guys, and I kind of chewed my stuff up. And then that last run, I thought I had them. Okay, I managed to run them down. I learned a little bit that you had to run the bottom and kind of stay over the bumps. So it'll loosen you up a little bit and help you turn. And I managed to run them down because they were racing real hard. And then the late caution came out and kind of blew up that whole plan. So, but it is what it is. I guess that's part of racing. But it was fun. It was fun out there.
Yep, and Jake just joined us in the booth. Jake got a question for Jordan.
No, I just wanted to say great job, man. It was really fun watching you out there, and obviously you looked pretty quick, so it's going to be fun to watch you battle it out the rest of the season with these guys.
Yep. Oh, and Jake, you were right early on. Jordan mentioned that, he was kind of saving his tires there at the beginning when we saw him lead the first lap and then fall back about 5 or 6 spots.
There we go.
So, there you go.
Yeah, I didn't want to wreck anyone right away in my debut and get a bad name for myself.
There you go.
No, you certainly did a great job in your debut. Any special shout-out sponsors you want to give out before you go?
Oh, shout out to the greatest admin of all time, Brad Slaughter Jr. He did a great job out there. Very professional. And thank you to, I think Ryan is the owner or something. Thanks for letting me in the last minute. Otherwise, I think that's everything.
All right, well, we'll let you go.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan.
Yeah. Shout out Ryan. Whoever owns the league, he's cool.
Jacob Bell, who's actually in here with us, is the owner of the league.
Oh, thank you, Jacob, then. Sorry, my bad.
All good.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yep. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, that was second place driver there, Jordan Hurley. The Ryan he was referring to was Ryan Hart's, one of the admins from tonight's race, along with Brad Slaughter Jr. Joining us now is third place finisher James Shamewolf. James, this is Hunter and Harold in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All righty, man. Well, you, Hurley and Robinson, you definitely put on one hell of a battle out there. Kind of take us through that second to last yellow there, where things started to slip away for you, and then that yellow came out and definitely changed some things up.
Yeah, I was hoping we were going to be all right. I tried to short pit. I knew I burnt my stuff up the long run before then. So I tried short pitting it. I knew I was going to be good on fuel. Was hoping that the time that I would make up would be enough to where they wouldn't be able to catch me back. And they were able to, so I just tried to make my car as wide as possible, and that didn't work out for me. Not a whole lot worked out for me tonight, man. I struggled quite a bit. Burnt my stuff up a lot.
Oh, you definitely rally. You definitely rallied for a third place finish there in the new team Audible Racing. This is a great confidence booster for the whole team as we go into our next race.
Yeah,
try. I was going to say, kind of take us through what the rest of the season is going to look like.
Try and dig ourselves out of this hole from starting up late. Adam Capps, he owns Audible Entertainment. It's a DJ company out there in Tennessee, and He came on board to sponsor me and wanted to put a team together. He wanted to run some, so he started the team up over here and told me that it was my job to try and get us some team points. So I figured third was better than nothing. That last restart there, I was real loose. I just rode in third. I should have took some fuel or something, try and tighten the car up. Didn't have enough for either one of them guys tonight.
Yeah, well, you definitely put the team in a good position here in its first race finish in third. Any special shout out sponsors that you'd like to give before you go?
Yeah, big shout out to Adam at Audible Entertainment. Also, Thunder Valley Tavern for all they do for me, for all Adam does for me. That man has gone above and beyond for a sim racer as a sponsor, so it's crazy. Shout out to Swift Lifestyles for sponsoring the series. Everybody at One to Go for the broadcast. Quick special thing too. My uncle had a pretty rough accident today at work. He's not doing too good. He's in the ICU right now. So shout out, prayers to him and the family. I know he likes to tune in and watch these things, and I just hope that he can pull through what he's going through.
We are certainly going to send our best wishes to your uncle here and hoping for a speedy recovery on him. Have a good night.
Yep, appreciate it.
That was third place finisher there, James Shane Wolf. Certainly keeping his uncle in our thoughts and prayers and hoping for a speedy recovery there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our finishing results here for the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. So Matthew Robinson getting the job done, winning with a late race strategy call, taking 2 tires. Over the 0-2 of Jordan Hurley, going to put the car in the second spot. James Shinwolf there, third. Forrest Smith, fourth. And finishing fifth, Eli Green. What a night he's had. Was contending for second, got caught up in an early wreck. No yellow came out. And, just rallied from then on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, I was getting carried away there. But yeah, Eli Green with the top 5, awesome rebound for him. Bobby Tinch, another one of those guys with a late charge to get up inside the top 10. Brian Dixon, Rick Christensen, results don't say the whole story with him. He was very fast all night long. Nolan Demon and Ryan Swann rounding out the top 10.
Yep, and then 11th here is Brandon Hedrick in the 12 car. Jordan Berry there got caught up in the end at a late race accident, going to come home 12th. Caleb Steimer there rallying for a solid 13th finish. Gary Lewis finishing 14th. And then rounding out the top 15 is Nicholas Holden.
And then you got Kevin Hayes with a 16th place finish, Dustin Carroll, JJ Wang, Adam Capps, and Dominic DeLeo with a 20th place run here tonight.
Yeah, tough break for DeLeo in the 21. The 81 of Jeremy Horn, also tough break for him, getting caught up in a wreck, finishing 21st. Same for Trevor Williams. Had to come from the back quite a bit throughout the race. Coming home 22nd, Rick Ward 23rd, Eric Sugar 24th, 25th, Jake Fluman, and 26th going to be Jacob York. And here's your race recap presented by Elwood Designs. Matthew Robinson leading 55 laps, getting the job done. 4 cautions for 20 laps. Had 26 cars in the field. And at the very end, the 0-2 of Jordan Hurley getting the fastest lap at a 23.703. All right, so final thoughts here, guys, as we cap off Iowa for the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series.
I mean, it was a great race all the way around. I think we'll see it a lot again tomorrow night with the Northern Capital Truck Series. Just the long run we had there in the middle to get a green flag pit stop in and keep our green flag pit stop streak alive. But I think we'll see a lot of action again, man. It seems to be a trend here at Iowa. It's really the only track we go to less than a mile all season long, especially for these truck and ARCA cars. So it'll be interesting for the rest of this week. Of course, Cup and Xfinity at the big track at Auto Club Speedway. But, I thought tonight's race was obviously very, very entertaining. And a big shout out to Matthew Robinson on pulling through with the W.
Yep, Harold, final thoughts here before we wrap it up.
Oh, like you pointed out earlier, we are 9 of 9 for green flag pit stops at the short 7/8. So pressure on for the trucks tomorrow night with me and Cushy. We'll be calling the action, and looking forward to it, man. It was a good race tonight. Let's see another one tomorrow.
Yep, absolutely. You can catch that tomorrow night on the Araya Twitch channel, and you can catch next week's broadcast of the Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. We'll be going to Las Vegas for 110 laps there. For now, executive producer Harold Darner, secondary voice Jacob Bell. I'm your lead announcer, Hunter Sleppy, saying so long, and we'll see you next time.
What an exciting race brought to you by One to Go Studios. Here they come out of turn 4 to the white flag, and it's 1 to go. Thank you to all our sponsors, drivers, and viewers. We'll see you at the next turn.